Hello everyone, it's Mike at Inspiring Harmony with another lesson about leading with grace. I have a couple of fun stories to share with you today to illustrate an important lesson. Most of us in time learn that life really is not black or white. In fact, it's really mostly gray, but I do think it's worth a reminder, so I hope you'll enjoy these stories to help make the point. Every summer of my youth, I attended Southern Illinois Christian Service Camp in West Frankfort, Illinois. This was a week or two of intense Bible study, evangelical style services, sharing common meals in a cafeteria, sleeping in bunk beds in cabins, going to a swimming pool, playing baseball. It was just a lot of fun, and I always looked forward to it every summer. These camps were generally led by local ministers, and a few of them happened to be rather conservative and dogmatic, which could lead to some rather fiery discussions among campers. So I always participated in that, but listened intently to make sure I came down on the right side of the debate, so as not to risk the eternal damnation of my soul. So one summer when I was there in high school, the topic of the week was situational ethics. And on this particular day, I'm remembering the specific topic was appropriate behavior in a dating situation. Quite a dangerous topic, I would say, to take on, but nonetheless interesting to me since it was something that I had little to no experience with. So I listened carefully as there was this discussion among all the campers about what was termed at the time kissing, light petting, heavy petting, and sex. Now those are dated terms. But those were the four categories that they were trying to distinguish and what's appropriate for a Christian person to do. Well, there was some rather excited discussion among many of the campers. Again, I sat mostly silent because I had no real experience or expertise in this area, so I just listened and thought it was quite fascinating to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions about what was appropriate or not for us Christian young people. So after the conversation had gone on for a while, one of the ministers, Floyd Stabler, took to the podium, and with his Bible in hand, he said to the entire group, "Here's what the Bible has to say about it." And he proceeded to read a passage of scripture that really only tangentially addressed the topic. But Floyd felt like that sealed the deal right there. And so when he closed his Bible, the conversation ended, the discussion ended, the campers walked away, many of them dejectedly, and I can remember walking away at that point in time thinking, well, Floyd, who was a man I really liked and respected a lot, really seemed to think that this question had a black and white answer, and so that must be true. So I walked away at that moment as a teenager thinking, maybe things really are black and white. In the immaturity of one's youth, it's easy to become zealous about right and wrong, whether that's about religion, society, politics. But eventually, of course, we all grow up and mature and come to the understanding that life is really not so black and white, that it really is, in fact, mostly gray. I say we all come to that understanding, but we know that's not true. There are those who become so firmly ingrained in their beliefs that the result is fundamentalism. And I've come to believe that fundamentalism in any form is evil. It's particularly so, I think, when you play the God card, which is to say, I'm right and I know I'm right because God is on my side. A very exclusive way, of course, of thinking. And we have to be careful as leaders if we bring fundamentalism into the group that we're trying to lead, it can become an untenable situation for everyone. A particular conundrum related to this matter of black and white is what to do with a question that just does not have a good answer. This fun story comes from when I was 22 years old, fresh out of college, and teaching general and choral music at a junior high school in Ankeny, Iowa. We had just finished giving a choral concert, And on this particular day, my choral rehearsal period was being used as a study hall in preparation for final exams. So my job there was really just to be a classroom monitor. So as I walked around the class, observing the students, helping wherever I could, I noticed this one girl who was looking particularly glum and clearly trying to get my attention. I should tell you that she was wearing a top that was knotted up just above her midriff and then unbuttoned down to the knot in a style that, if you're old enough to remember, you'll know was made famous by Catherine Bach when she was Daisy Duke in The Dukes of Hazzard. By the way, I ran into her at a party in Aspen one summer. She talked to me for all of a minute and then realized that I was really no one important and dropped me like a hot potato. But anyway, that's beside the point. This girl was obviously trying to get a little attention, and so when I said, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" she said, "Well, maybe." And she said, "I went to see the vice principal, and he told me I had to go home and change my clothes because they're just too revealing, but I don't think they are. What do you think?" So I said, "Well, gee, there's really no good answer to this question, is there?" So after half a second, I said, "If the vice principal thinks you need to go home and change your clothes, then I guess that's what you'll have to do." And then I breathed a sigh of relief as I realized I had hedged the question and dodged a bullet on that one. But nonetheless, it's a good example of what we all have to face from time to time. Sometimes life is not only not black and white, there are often questions that just simply do not have good answers. Nurturing harmony in the groups we lead can get messy. I've learned from leading groups of people with varying opinions that what I learned way back in my youth about situational ethics is really true. Oftentimes, the choice you make for one group in one situation is not the choice you would make for a different group in a different situation. And oftentimes, the decision you make is not 100% the right or the wrong thing. Oftentimes, it's just the best choice you have under the circumstances. For many of us, especially as leaders who would like things to be neat and tidy, in other words, black and white, it pays to learn life is actually mostly gray. Thank you for joining me for this lesson about leading with grace. Please do check out my book, my blog, and my website. And until I see you the next time, buen camino.